With sneakers, it's been synonymous with Cape Town from like 90s. You know, you'll always see the brass on the corner with the fly kicks on.
In Cape Town particularly, we have this love for like big Air Max units, we call it bubbles. Like that was the culture.
Shelflife started simply with the paint, the spray paint that we import from Montana in Barcelona. We started 2006, and from the paint we realized that, you know, to get paid and to pay rent and stuff, you need more than cans. And so we started to sell some streetwear and a few sneakers, and then it just grew from there. Thought it was a really cool concept, the shelf life of products, you know, and I thought the whole concept was cool with retail and sneakers. I realized at the time when we opened that there wasn't many stores selling streetwear. There were skate stores, there were surf stores. You couldn't buy any streetwear within South Africa, so we saw like a gap straight away. The town for me has always been, it's always been an amazing place. Even when I was 15, 16, you know, I always used to catch the train to town to buy cans. Yeah, I would say it's definitely a meeting place. So we sometimes have guys hanging around waiting to get cans, and then they'll meet their friends, and then maybe they bump into some guys, and it will be a whole conversation and a meeting point. It's taken a huge amount of work, like I said, doing launches, a massive amount of legwork. So it wasn't just open a shop. A lot of people don't realize that. We've told the stories through all of the launches, the releases, and we've built it from there, literally from scratch up. And each time, you know, hopefully adding something to the culture and something that people will remember.
So the first store in Cape Town is the first Select store in the world. Select was kind of brought into the business to close the gap between the rest of the business and the top tier, bringing in sort of luxury fabrications and a lot more limited products. It's all based on the fact that we're saying, even the guy walking to work, you know, you're living a pretty active life anyway.
We get like the drops, like the Fenty has been a big thing since the Fenty's drop here, which was one of the first keywords that we've seen for ladies.
A lot of the product is very techy and sort of very advanced in its design. Sport-inspired infusion into our product.
You get the people that's still into the high tops and those type of things, but now I think with runners and the new technology into runners, especially like with what Puma's doing, they basically just launched the Disc Ignite. They basically infused the old into the new.
And we've got a huge following of sneaker collectors in the country.
If it wasn't for sneaker culture, this store wouldn't be here where it is.
So where I really started, I think it was probably the influence from my brother. We used to live in the US. There was a lot of like sneaker releases and all that type of things. I remember it was like 2003 Air Force Ones were really big that side. And yeah, I could never afford it. I started like cutting grass and all that stuff in the US for like neighbors, plowing snow and doing all that stuff. When we moved back to South Africa, there was always a lot of guys that would see the sneakers that we're wearing, and they would be like, yo, these shoes never released in South Africa. So this is just me now working from my parents' house in my room. Sneaker boxes stacked up. I set up like the couriers, the delivery and all that type of thing. I was like, no, we need to actually get something, a store, like a physical space. The name Lost Property, it came from, let's just say, a pair of sneakers. You kind of always wanted it, or you had it when you were a kid, but you just don't have it anymore, you lost it. So you go to Lost Property to find the sneaker. We started an event called Sneaker Exchange, which is like the buy, sell and trade sneaker event of Africa. And yeah, I mean, sneaker culture in South Africa is definitely growing.
Streetwear and sneakers have always been hand in hand with each other. It was really adapted, you know, onto the streets by guys involved in all of these different cultures.
Like Cape Town is such a great place, full of contrast and like a lot of stories that people tell our stories, but we don't tell our stories. So it's important for us to take control of our identity.
If you look at it, there's people that's been around for years. That society started calling them sneakers because they only talk about sneakers and stuff like that. But now they flip that into how can you make money because of this stuff.